I'm Jay and I'm in year 13. Today, for my International Women's Day presentation, I'm going to talk about the Heaphishi movement and the importance of recognising male privilege in order to more effectively support those who identify as women. First of all, it's important to address the fact that although March the 8th is recognised globally as International Women's Day, it's vital that we all celebrate it. It's not solely up to women to celebrate and recognise their accomplishments, and it's not solely up to them to speak up and act on the injustices that they unfairly face due to their gender and the patriarchal system that upholds them. For many of us, the privileges that men have are taken for granted in our daily lives. Perhaps we're even unaware of their existence as a privilege. For example, the notion that we'd be judged for keeping our natural body hair is somewhat absurd, let alone the idea of having politicians, primarily of another gender, make laws to control our bodies. We can generally walk down a street or go on a date with someone and not experience the same level of scrutiny simply in terms of how we look and dress, and as such, we're not a subject to unwelcome and unfounded comments and behaviours. We would consider these as rights, and we would unlikely settle for anything less. So why do we expect women to do so? These examples may be fairly anecdotal, so to make it clearer, here are some statistics which speak for themselves. On average, for every female film character, there are 2.24 male characters. Women are 47% more likely to suffer severe injuries in car crashes because safety features are designed for men. The number of female heads of government is lower today than 5 years ago, with only 10 women in such positions in 193 countries, down from 15 in 2014. In 2020, the UK's gender pay gap was 15.5%. In 2019, it was 17.3%, which meant women worked an average of 63 unpaid days, which is equivalent to over 2 months of unpaid work as a result of the gender pay gap. On an average day, women spend about 3 times as many hours on unpaid domestic work and care work as men. 39 countries have laws that mean a daughter cannot inherit the same proportion of assets as a son. 18 countries allow men to prohibit their wives from working. 17 countries limit when and how women can travel outside the home. For many men, the question, "Are you a feminist?" is a question that is often met with a bemused silence, followed by a chuckle. Many of us, when asked if we are a feminist or whether we support feminism, will simply say no. For example, this US study suggested that 67% of men either don't identify as feminists, identify as anti-feminists, or have no opinion. You may be surprised to find out that, on the other hand, only 60% of women identified as a feminist or a strong feminist. So the question remains, what is a feminist? And why don't more of us want to be one? To answer this, we must know and understand what feminism actually is and where the movement originated. Feminism is the advocacy of women's rights on the ground of the belief in the social, economic, and political equality of the sexes, the belief that men and women should have equal rights and opportunities. The feminist movement was started by women in the late 19th century who, often taken for granted, realised that they must first gain political power, including the right to vote, to bring about change. Over the years, feminism's political agenda expanded to issues such as sexuality, workplace matters, reproductive rights, and violence against women in all of its forms. So, to put it simply, feminism is the desire to strive for gender equality. So, why are many people so against it? Perhaps they're uncomfortable with admitting that they live in a world existing with gender biases, or they're uncomfortable addressing their role in reinforcing them. Perhaps many people feel as if we have already arrived at equality for all genders, which, as explained earlier, is simply not the case. To quote Nigerian author Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, we should all be feminists, not only as a commitment to women's liberation, but also as a way of encouraging men to hold conversations with women on sexuality, appearance, roles, and success. By embracing feminism, men are not suppressing their own struggles or making them any less important. Instead, we create an environment where all genders are able to share and be open to conversations surrounding any gender stereotypes and the damage they can cause. Although gender equality hasn't been achieved yet, changes have been made to aid progress. For example, the introduction of the revised parental leave legislation in 2015 enabled both parents to take time off, regardless of their gender. This means that women can go back to work earlier, and fathers can take their paid paternity leave in replacement. As of the 4th of April 2018, all organisations in Great Britain that employ over 250 individuals must publicly declare and report their gender pay gap to the Government Equalities Office. This means any discrepancies between male and female employees can be publicly made aware of, hopefully inciting change. This year, sanitary items are no longer classified by law as luxury items, and as a result, VAT is no longer charged on them. Heaphishi is a solidarity movement for the advancement of gender equality initiated by the United Nations. Grounded in the idea that gender inequality is an issue that affects all people, socially, economically, and politically, Heaphishi is a global effort that seeks to involve men and boys in achieving equality by taking action against negative gender stereotypes and behaviours. One of Heaphishi's initiatives is the Heaphishi Champions Initiative, which is a unique ecosystem that engages 10 world leaders, 10 global CEOs, and 10 university presidents to address some of today's most pressing gender issues. Each champion has made 3 specific, measurable, and transformative commitments towards achieving gender equality. The unwavering commitment of the Heaphishi champions is providing the leadership needed to reach the goal of gender equality in society. Although this is good news, it's not where the work ends. We must challenge societal norms and encourage equality to get anywhere, which brings me to the theme of this year's International Women's Day. Choose to challenge. An idea of a challenge that you may choose is to rethink and analyse how you might play into reinforcing male privilege, or what actions you could take to help society get another step closer to gender equality. You may want to question gender stereotypes, or, if you're male, use your position to influence other males in your life, including calling them out for using sexist language. You might feel that you're helpless, and that you can't do much to help to tackle gender inequality, especially in the political sense. But if you're just prepared to talk about it, or help to amplify the voices of others, then it really helps to lift the stigma behind it, and it encourages more people to be educated. Thanks for listening.